You may be someday.
Okay.
But you're a rookie.
It's something to strive for, huh?
Yeah. So
Thank you for having me.
you go to Charleston in about 2 weeks, I guess, right?
Yep, I'm leaving on the 8th.
A little less than 2 weeks. What are we up to now? The 28th. So, yeah, a week and a half.
Leaving on the 8th to get set up, yep.
Now, you've been down there to be sworn in, correct?
Yes, I was.
Yeah. What was your experience like for your swearing in? Pretty cool?
It was pretty overwhelming, yes. When I was doing the oath, and saying the Pledge of Allegiance the first time in the chamber, I actually started crying.
Cool.
But yeah, it was very overwhelming. It's an honor.
This was the first time you ever ran for office, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
Never saw myself here.
So this is all new stuff. And what did you think about the Capitol in Charleston the first time you saw it?
Whew, is it beautiful? I mean, it really is. That gold is just, I mean, it's gorgeous. It's gorgeous there. I like it a lot.
Who went down with you for your swearing in?
My husband. I did a preliminary, one of the ceremonial swearing-ins the following day, and he was there for that, to hold the Bible for me, and a judge did that. It was very cool.
Do you have any idea at this time what your role will be, different committees and such in Charleston?
Yes. Thank goodness I am on the Education Committee. And specifically the subcommittee for higher education and for school choice.
You said thank goodness, so obviously you wanted that one.
Yes, I did.
Yeah, why did you want that one so much?
I really believe in school choice. I really want to expand the Hope Scholarship. I think it's important. I think free market works. I think it's going to help our public school system to have some of that competition. And the higher education, I'm not real sure what that's going to be about, but I'm excited about that too. I have one grandson who's graduating this year from public school, but I have another one who's 9, who's in the 5th grade, and a little one, hopefully, that will be adopting soon, who's 5 months. So school is very important to me. I think we talked before after I got elected. I mean, we're ranked pretty like 49th in the country, and I'm looking forward to getting in there and figuring out how to make that better.
Do you know when they, and I don't know the answer to this question, when they do test scores rankings and compare them around the country, are those scores based solely on public school kids in the classroom, or do they include private school kids, charter school kids, alternate school kids, homeschool kids?
I don't know. I don't know the answer to that.
Yeah, I don't either. I'm going to find out, though.
I would assume they include charter school kids, at least, because charter schools are
public school.
Public schools. And I got to say, I met Lisa the other day. I was at a thing at the Purple Iris, and she spoke. They had delegates. It was a legislative forum. And she spoke holding the youngest grandchild while she spoke.
Good arm strength.
Which was, it's sort of like you get points when you speak, and the Russian judges, you get extra degree of...
Always throw out the Russian judges.
Always throw out the Russian judges, but you get degree of difficulty points, and holding a baby while speaking in front of a group definitely gets you a degree of difficulty points.
I'm a power lifter, so
yes.
How old is the grandchild?
5 months.
5? Yeah, okay. You got to hold.
Yeah, she wasn't holding the 9-year-old or the 18-year-old while she spoke. Yes.
I could do that too, though.
That would be good. Now, what other committees besides education will you be involved in?
That's it right now. So I guess as a freshman, you only get one. That's it right now. I do want to do some work, and I'm hoping I can, with also Health and Human Services. Kids are my passion, and unfortunately, we're ranked 49th in the country, but we're pretty high up there as far as where we come in for at-risk children in this country. I met yesterday, I don't know if you guys have heard of a place called Camp Esri. Not many people have, and it's right in Hedgesville. It's in the mountains of Hedgesville. It's 80 acres. And his name is Damon, and he is a pastor, but he does a camp for at-risk kids up to the age, I think it's 14 or 15, and from 8 to 14. And he's just an incredible person. So I've got people that are smarter than me looking into some of the issues that he's having. He doesn't take any government funds. He's self-supporting, raises money. But it's a very he talks about the Bible. He they hunt, they fish, they shoot, they do all kinds of things up there. And, you show me studies that that's what helps kids to get better. So,
And how do kids get to his camp?
he gets referrals from churches, from different other organizations. Sometimes police, juvenile.
Is this in place of going to school, or is it like on weekends,
No,
evenings,
it's on
whatever?
weekends.
Gotcha.
Yeah, if you get a chance, look at his website. He's an incredible person.
Yeah.
I introduced him to my pastor at my church, and they talked a lot. And but that is one of my biggest passions, is to help kids to break the cycle of what has happened to their families, to their parents, drug addiction, that sort of thing. And I think if we really work with the kids, then that can break some of those cycles.
The education committee should almost come under health services, because so much of stuff that happens in that department
Yes, it
drives
does.
what happens in the classroom.
Yes, it does.
Right?
So I'm excited about that too. I want to see how that can be integrated in. I'm sure it is. Like I said, this is my first time, so I'm not sure how all that works. I'm really eager to get in there and learn. I did have a meeting with the Board of Education a couple weeks ago. Some of their suggestions were good, and some of them I've got to take a look at. But I think that open communication with the Board of Education is also going to be helpful. One of the things I would like to see, kind of on an aside, is our state board. I think at least half of them need to be elected. And I'd like to see us push for that.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of appointed 9-year terms.
No.
I'm not even for judges am I a fan of that. I would like to see something that's a bit more, at least mixed, if not all.
Yeah,
elected
I'd like it
again.
all, but I could compromise with the mix. But they're not accountable to anything or anybody. So I really would like to see if we could get that done too.
Matt Miller.
How many members are there on the State Board of Education?
Well, 9, I think. Is it 9?
Okay.
I think it's 9. But don't hold me to that. I'm not
Right.
sure.
Did you make your feelings known going in that you would like to be on that education committee, and you were selected for that, or was that kind of divine appointment?
Well, we get asked what
Okay.
we want, so we get to pick. I only picked 2. We were supposed to pick 5, but I figured if I only picked 2, they only had 2 to pick from. So that gave me a better chance of getting what I wanted.
Nice. Well played.
But but that was on my campaign trail. I talked a lot about, school choice with, I have a very rural area, also a lot of small business in my area, so it's mixed, but a lot of the parents, they were home during the day when I was knocking doors because they were homeschooling their children, and they really wanted to see. They really loved the fact that they could use the Hope Scholarship, but they really wanted to see that expanded.
You mentioned earlier that you never saw yourself here becoming a West Virginia legislator. How and why? What was it that kind of led you to this point?
Well, my 18-year-old grandson at the time was 13, and we were living in Maryland, and we would ride around, and I'd make him listen to Rush Limbaugh. Yes, I'm that old. But, and, he said, I really think the problem is that we focus on the president, and the president really can't do that much. Not really. We don't even know most people in our county don't know who our Board of Education, who's on our Board of Education, who's on the city council, who our state commissioners are. And that's where he says, that's where I see things happening is at the state level. And he goes, most people don't even know who their mayor is. And I was like, wow, you're right. And I was one of those people. I knew who my mayor was, but I was one of those people. And when we moved here to West Virginia, my husband and I vowed to get involved as much as we could. So we joined the Berkeley County Republican Club. I became their treasurer. I really would like to be on finance too, but they told me that wasn't possible for a freshman, but I'm really a money person. And, as we started getting involved, and Eric Householder decided to run for state auditor, and we talked, and I thought, well, you know what better time than let's just try this thing. So that's what. But no, I never saw myself doing. And, in every step of the way, I was just put in the right place at the right time, met the right people. It just seemed like the right thing to do. So,
So all in all, it's been a good experience. The running for an office, all that you have to do as a candidate, and now getting that opportunity to be sworn in. And you said what that was like, and the emotion even that's there. It's all been worth it.
Yeah. Door knocking was my favorite thing, I have to tell you. Meeting the people in my district was my absolute favorite thing. This right here is not my forte, but I'm getting used to it. I didn't feel like I was going to throw up this morning, so that was good. That's progress.
If you feel like you have to, straight across.
But I really like talking to the people. We've already had a town hall, and I really like to hear from people. I think what's missing sometimes is that they don't feel like they have a voice. And so, in the primary, people didn't even go out and vote. I think for the main, I can't think, when they came out for the election on the 5th, I think it was more because they wanted to vote for Trump. I think, that was the driving force behind the early voting and all of that. But I think if we can get people more involved locally, they'll feel more empowered to know who they're voting for. Really do their research and vote for people that have the same ideas and values that they do.
You make a good point, Lisa, because the way the state has gone red, the real election is the primary. Mm-hmm. So if you don't show up for the primary, yep, you really have taken your voice out of who you're going to select, because it's a foregone conclusion in the Eastern Panhandle right now that the Republican is going to win against a Democrat, if there's even a Democrat up against the Republican in the general. So to not show up for the primary is a huge mistake. And the other aspect I don't understand in voter behavior, and this isn't just the Eastern Panhandle, it's across the country, and that's the midterm. So you turn out in numbers to put your guy in the White House, and then you don't turn out in numbers 2 years later to make sure that your guy in the White House still has control of the House and the Senate. Because inevitably and invariably, the person in the White House if they have both the House and the Senate, loses control of one or the other or both in the midterm. Mm-hmm. Because that person's supporters didn't turn out in the midterm. I can never figure that one out.
No, one of the things I couldn't figure out either is like when we vote for the mayor and some of the other, that's on a whole different.
Oh, that's off.
And
6%.
Yeah, it's horrible. So
the 5 people that elect our mayor. I mean, and I love our mayor. Our mayor's a great guy. I think if it was on regular election day, Kevin Knowles would still win. He's a good guy.
Oh, yes, he would. I love Kevin.
But 6%.
It's ridiculous that the city has a separate day just because you don't get the kind of turnout. You don't get the kind of people getting to know our candidates. I mean, I think our city is really well run. We're lucky, but it would be nicer if more people came out and voted.
Yeah, how many people asked me? There were so many people that asked me, well, I went to vote for the mayor. I couldn't. Why couldn't I do that? Why wasn't he on the ballot? So
exactly.
Yeah,
yes. Most people don't have any idea.
No, they don't.
Jump right in.
I want to switch. You're in higher education. I want to talk about the mess that colleges are in West Virginia at this point. And you were talking about, free market and how, with the charter schools and stuff like that and school choice. Our state is really propping up a lot of schools that are dying at this point. We have colleges, WVU even, what are they down? They were 30,000 students and they're low 20,000s now. Shepherd, that's considered doing well, is down 1,000 students, and they're doing fine. But there are some colleges in the middle of the state that basically they have now, at this point, 100% acceptance rates, because if you can pay, they'll take you. But more so than that, the state is just pouring money into them. I know we lost Alderson Broadus, I guess, a year or so ago. But do we have too many colleges? We don't have enough students going to college. The preponderance of online education. And we also have the community college system, which has gotten a lot better, where the colleges really make their money in year 1 and year 2. Year 1 and year 2, the kids come, they're in the dorm. I know I was paying $800 a month for a dorm spot for half a cell at WVU, which was ludicrous, not even including the meal plan. They really make their money then. So now that we have this great community college system, it is taking away from the 4-year colleges. It's saving money, and it should be done. It's saving money for the families. But where do we go? You're on higher education. I'm sorry, I'm rambling. But what do you think? Do we keep propping up this many schools? Do we do sort of a a condensing? How do we do it? I mean, we're putting so much more money into the community colleges that so many kids aren't going to the first 2 years of college away.
Well, I mean, this is going to be a naive kind of thing. I'm not really, I need to learn a lot about what we're doing. But one of the things that attracted me to Patrick Morrissey was that he wanted to do audits. And I think that audits are going to be very important for everything, including higher education, all of our programs. Where are we putting money and wasting money? Where are we using our money efficiently and not efficiently? And I think that's one of the things that we should be looking into. I do. I think we just throw a lot of money. And, for me, the colleges, it's like they get endowments, they get this, they get that, but we're still throwing all this money in there. Can we take a step back and see how much, are we wasting and how much are we using efficiently? One of the things when I met with the Board of Education, and I'm a big proponent on tech schools, and my grandson goes to Rumsey, and it is run like a fine oiled machine. I mean, that is a great tech school, and from what I understand and from what he says, he loves it. And I think they're building another one here soon. I want to say up in the Falling Waters area, but I'm not sure. They were talking about that.
I mean, that's what I've heard. We need more tech schools.
Yes, we do.
I mean, I always say when I talk, and I speak to groups of kids, and I talk to a lot of people, but I say, kids have to do one of a few things. You either have to go to college, you have to go in the military, you have to get a trade, or you have to go into sales. Because if you don't do one of those four things, you are destined to be lower middle class for the rest of your life. Or start a business. I mean, that's number 5. But
yeah. So when I was growing up, my parents couldn't afford to send us to school, right? We couldn't go to college. So both my brothers became union electricians. I mean, rose up in the ranks, did very well. I mean, my middle brother was, a vice president of one of the companies he was working for. My husband's a union electrician. I couldn't go to college, so my dad said, "You better get a skill." So I learned how to type, and I typed very fast, 130 some words a minute.
Wow!
And I went up the ladder in the business world, just becoming a clerk typist, becoming an executive assistant, doing administrative work. Then I went into marketing and development without a college degree. It was all experience based.
Well, and that makes sense. And people in the trades make more money than most people who go to college.
Right out,
without the debt.
And they get paid to go to school.
Right.
So yeah.
I mean, I think we spend, I went to college. My kids went to college. But I think that we put too much emphasis on it, and I think we need to put more emphasis on. I mean, I know when I need an electrician or a plumber or this or that, it's hard to find one sometimes, or they can come in a week. That tells me there aren't enough of them. And I mean, more kids. If anybody's listening, if you have kids, if you have grandkids, get your kids a trade. I mean, obviously, you got to go to college, go in the military, get a trade. You got to do something, because so many of these kids in our state, they go to work at a distribution center or something like that because they say, okay, I'm making a living, but they don't understand that there's a top to that living. You're not going to be able to have the nice house, the vacation, a decent car. You're not going to be able to support a family on that.
There's a job, and then there's a career.
There's a job, there's a job, and then there's a career. And higher education, I think we need more technical schools in this state. And I think we need, and I'm not going to name the colleges, but I know there are 2 schools in this state that are hemorrhaging, that are barely afloat, and they're afloat because the state keeps giving them money.
Yep.
Colleges, not.
Yep. Oh yeah, I understand. Yeah, so I'm excited about. Like I said, I'm a money person, so
Nice.
I want to look at that, and I think before we start spending money on any of our programs, we really need to take a look at what's working and what's not working, because some of what we're doing is not working, and the money that we're pouring into it is not helping. So we need to take a step back and figure out what that is and why.
It would be better, my feeling, and now that we've got a new governor who I'm a big fan of, Patrick Morrissey. I think he's awesome. But I think if we took a lot of that money out of higher education, I know this is going to anger some of our listeners, and we put it into bringing more businesses and more companies into West Virginia, where we would not have, our state spends so much money educating our kids so that our kids who have degrees can leave and go elsewhere, our brain drain is huge. We need to spend that money attracting more businesses to West Virginia so we can keep these people these amazing kids who've got these great educations, who we can keep them paying for West Virginia state income tax instead of them leaving after using our school system, which is great. I mean, they're West Virginians, they should, but let's do something to get them excited about staying here. Let's get more jobs for them here.
Well, the entrepreneurship, to me, that's a big thing too. The small businesses. We need to do more to help our small business owners. We talked at the business luncheon that I did put in a bill to put on the ballot to get rid of the inventory tax. But that's not for a couple of years, so I put in another bill to reduce the inventory tax to 0.0001. So if we can get that passed, at least that's a start for our small business owners. We need to look at our unemployment laws and how they're being enforced. I mean, some of that stuff is killing our small businesses. The ones in my area that have talked to me about that, that's a big issue for them. The inventory tax, the unemployment laws. And, I think that if we start really getting rid of some of these regulations, streamlining permits and things like that, we can help our small business owners that are already here to grow.
John, we're down to our final minute here. Lisa, you're about to leave for Charleston. How can your constituents get in touch with you while you are in the Capitol?
So they can reach me at, I'm on I have a website, and that's Lisa Ford WV D96, and they can go on my Facebook page, Lisa Ford WV, and they can also email me at lisa.white@yahoo.com. So any way they want to get a hold of me. Facebook is my website is up to date now. It's not a campaign website anymore. It's a delegate website, so they can go in. I'm going to be posting when we're going to have our next town hall, and the bills that are coming through, how I vote, why I vote. So I'm going to be transparent with them.
Thank you kindly.
Thank you.
Appreciate you coming in.